Hello everyone, welcome back to Major Minor. This is Cross. Last time we talked with Rook and I didn't enjoy it at all. I honestly think that the game should have just let us kill both of the characters off because quite frankly, after that entire big spiel about how creepy and disturbing he was getting, it would have been best if the game just let us kill them both off, in my opinion, but whatever. So we're gonna continue on. I think we're on like another thing to like get talk to another character, so it'll be the whole episode. Also, I still don't know why Rocker is there. Maybe like a programmer could answer that, but like he's dead. I don't know why he's attached to the thing for no reason. So like whatever. As I walk deeper into the bunker, I'm more confused. I've never seen a place like this in my life. Were we even in Japan right now? Of course, I'd never know, so I just keep on walking. After a few moments, I notice Shock by a door. He's chugging a can of Popstar and looks fatigued. Looks about normal to me. Hey, Minato. It's good to see you up and about. Did Archer have a talk with you? I nod and tell him it's nice to see him too. What a bunch of nonsense, huh? And here I thought he was becoming credible. I've never heard such a far-fetched story. You can't possibly believe that, right? I mean, we all handle crisis differently, but to validate it with fairy tales, his problems go deeper than I thought. And he's holding us in here because of that. If that's the case, we're not getting out. Whatever it is he's waiting for, it's not going to happen. We need to escape before we starve. It makes sense from his point of view, but he hadn't seen the things that we've seen. He hadn't directly witnessed the Arc or Max's power. To him, Archon really was making stuff up. But I better not tell Shock that I believe him. If he knew I sided with Archon, he'd be angry. And that was something he was really good at. I decided to change the subject to avoid any drama. Perhaps he could tell me a little about himself. Ever since we met, he's been caught up in the moment. A little relaxation and breathing room would help him. If anything, it would help the time go by faster. Your bond was strong, which, my fucking god. Well, I've been thinking about Klace a lot. I'm sure you've heard, we go way back. I'm just reliving those old memories. It's making me all nostalgic for Canada. Now that I know he's from Canada, I don't know if I could do like a fucking Canadian accent. Like, makes me all nostalgic for Canada. But as much as I want to go back, I can't. That's the thing with nostalgia, it's fake. It's like looking at a shattered mirror. The pieces on their own look promising, but if you put them together, you'll see. The full picture isn't what you want at all. You glorify the past with specific memories. You know, I've decided since he's Canadian, I'm gonna make him sound nicer than he should because he's a giant asshole. Sometimes the bad's completely ignored. If I went back, I'd regret it. I mean, sure, I had lots of fun, but there was lots of hurt, too. I remember when I first met Klace. It was way back in elementary school. For some reason, he'd follow me around. I'd have to say it was really annoying. Some random kid just stalking you, and I'd just tune him out and ignore him. They go as far back as elementary school. For some reason, I didn't think it went that far back. Anyway, my dad thought we were friends, so he got in touch with Klace's parents. Next thing I knew, we were hanging out. I thought my dad should have asked me first. Now I was forced to acknowledge him. You know, this voice fucking sucks. I'll go back to the emo edgelord or like whatever the slightly deeper voice I had going for him because like, this wasn't a school setting anymore. I didn't have any friends and I was clueless, so I decided to ask him why he followed me. I thought it was a reasonable question. Apparently he knew my family was military, or should I say, my dad was. My mom was long since out of the picture. But he said everyone else knew too, and that explained why I had no friends. He told me they were all afraid of me, fucking little pussy ass bitches. Like, I feel like that's kind of valid, but at the same time, I think most people, at least in my town, people would have been trying to make good friends with that person, so they have like a badass military friend at the helm, but whatever. I don't know why, but they were, and he told me it was for the best. He said that all the kids bullied him. Unless he was with me, of course, since the other kids were scared. Well, I mean, if I saw Klace in real life with his stupid pink fur, I'd probably want to beat the shit out of him, too. They wouldn't mess with him if I was there. This'll sound weird, so just play along. But I always feel like I didn't measure up. My dad fought in wars and I was just a kid. It kind of made me feel important. I mean, having someone count on me. So I made sure the other kids stayed away. We became best friends after that, all the way up until high school. But who doesn't drift apart by then? My dad's military days came to an end, and at that point he was a private contractor. He got a job and we had to move. I remember Klace taking it really badly, but he had other things to focus on. He was starting to become recognized. Talent shows, contests, you name it. His career was sure to blossom soon. It's too bad I'd be gone when it happened. Perhaps me leaving was a good thing. He'd be able to focus on his future, better than us distracting each other. It took a while, but I got over it. We tried to stay in touch, but failed. What the fuck? What do you mean? Like you? Well, I mean, unless he's gonna be like. But then we ended up working on the band because, like, I was about to say, like, are you not with his fucking band? You know how that stuff can be. So I started to focus on my own career. It turns out I was great at soccer, enough to get a full academic scholarship. I could go to any school I wanted, so I aligned it with my dad's work. That's how I ended up in America. But something went wrong with his employer. Some crisis at an investor meeting. The word crisis doesn't even sound like a word anymore. I never saw my father again. Oh joy, is that like the same fucking meeting that like Max blew up an entire fucking family or something? Another mention of an investor meeting. Could his father have worked for Armstrong? Well, gee, how subtle. Maybe you could have like left that there. I wasn't in the mood to continue school. I dropped out and took a bit of a dark turn, you know, cocaine, alcohol. My promising soccer career died with him. I wanted to join the military, maybe to follow in his footsteps, but they wouldn't let me do it. They said I was mentally unfit. I mean, every character in this game qualifies as mentally unfit for several different reasons. I wouldn't say you're mentally unwell, I'd just say you're mentally, how we say, special. It hurt, but I get what they meant. There was a chance I was being reckless. So I kinda just went underground. That part of my life's a blur. There was one thing I remember though, fighting. That's what I wanted though. It's why I applied for the military. Had to find an outlet somewhere. You're a fucking sociopath. What the shit? Like, I mean, I guess they want men that are willing to, like, have bloodlust, but shit, dude, oh my god. When they turned me down, I went elsewhere. The term Fight Club is totally cliche. But there's a whole lot of martial arts rings. So they're fight clubs. Not all of them played by the rules, but that's kind of what I wanted. It was a good way to sate my attraction. Oh my god, that's definitely a colorful background. He lost his best friend and his father. He must have been an emotional basket case. Well, I mean, he's certainly a basket case. As odd as fighting was, it's good that he found relief. He must be somewhat out of shape, though. If I'm not mistaken, Artron disarmed him quite fast. Or perhaps Artron is just stronger than we think. Yeah, but nobody likes rule breakers. That's how you get the law involved. And trust me, they got involved. I was given a bit of an ultimatum. Stop the fighting or go to jail. Obviously, I chose to stop. But they still checked in on me. It was hard for me to stay anonymous. I had to show them I was done for good. So I decided to give them what they wanted. I picked up a guitar and I started playing. The least violent thing I could think of. And what do you know? I was good at it. Didn't even have to practice. No one believed me, but I was a natural. So I started to play at open mic nights. Then the police just left me alone. I guess they believe my little act. It's not like I like playing the guitar. I just do it when the circumstances needed it. I actually started to get noticed. Klace was getting famous by then too. To be honest, I had no idea. My priorities were always elsewhere. I remember seeing him do an interview. It was on TV in one of the bars. I thought he looked so stuck up. Well, he is kind of stuck up. A far cry from the guy I used to know. Fame can change people, I thought. I hope it would never happen to me. But then I saw him right there in the bar. He smiled at me and told me how good I was. He actually came to watch one of my shows. Usually it's the other way around. You go to a show and you hope to get noticed. You never hear stories like mine. We shared some drinks and got to talking. It turns out I was horribly wrong. He was still the same guy that I knew. That's when he asked me to play for him. He was about to start touring. Him and his manager were seeking talent. I agreed without a single thought, and I can tell you right now, it was a mistake. I was driven by my nostalgia. Back when we were best friends, back when my father was alive, I wanted to feel that way again. Another situation for me to play the guitar, a chance to relive those glory days. That was the recipe for this disaster. Touring with him and reconnecting, it was like rebuilding that broken mirror. We got the good and then we got the bad. More death, more destruction. It became one huge nightmare. I wish I never agreed to join him. Maybe then they'd all be alive. Tragedy stalks me, you know. First my dad, now everyone else. And I couldn't even protect him this time. It wasn't like that when we were in school. You can't relive the past. I was naive. He slams his fist against the wall. It looks painful, but he doesn't even flinch. He seems to think he's responsible for all of this. That's why I decided to keep people away. I won't get close to anybody again. My true glory days, they were underground. I didn't make connections and I was solo. There was no one around me to get hurt. I think that's the best environment for me. So when we get out, that's what I'll do. I'll go back to how things were before. Back when I only looked out for myself. And he'll, like, completely get fucking arrested because I'm fairly sure he was like, I was underground fighting people, but then the police told me to stop or else they'd arrest me. Yeah, no, I guess Shock is like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go to jail and get, like, completely fucking raped in there, I guess, but that's his prerogative. He turns away from me like he's done talking, but wouldn't that be repeating his mistake? Going back underground, it'd be chasing the past. If he knew what he was doing, he'd push forward. You're good, you know that? I didn't see it that way. Food for thought, at least. Last time we talked, he mentioned philanthropy. Fuck you, I never went to college. Philanthropic whatever work. That would be a much better idea than peddling back. A relapse only hurt everybody involved. And Klace would never agree to let him do that. I mean, who cares what Klace thinks? He's dead. Yeah, you're right. He looks back at me with tear-filled eyes. He just followed me around like he'd used to. He walks away, his head held high, almost as if he's trying to mask his crying, little bitch. But from what he's told me, he just has to move on. He's caught up in some weird superstition. There was no way he was responsible for this. It was just an easy way to enact self-pity. He had to move on, and realize it just wasn't his fault. His losses have been extreme, but he still had himself. As long as he didn't lose his path, he'd be okay. I hope he stuck to the philanthropy idea. Now all of a sudden I could, like, pronounce it. Philanthropy. Oh my god. It's like that time I forgot the word elephant and I couldn't even figure out what the fuck. And then like an hour later I was like, oh. I swear I'm actually stupid. I walk in the opposite direction, venturing deeper. After a few moments I turn down a long corridor. Perhaps I could help the next person I saw too. As I walk forward I wonder who that might be. We're gonna end this episode here because that just gave me a headache listening to that edgelord nonsense. I hope you have a good night or a good day, whoever you may be. See you later. Bye bye.